Hello guys and welcome. In this video I'm going to teach you guys how to cut and sew a kaftan top from the scratch to the finish, from the beginning to the end. This one is for the absolute beginner, like if you've never made a kaftan before, from the scratch to the finish. Now, so these are the measurements that I'm going to be using. The chest is 44, shoulder 18.5, sleeve is about 10 inches, round sleeve is 16, and the others. I'm just going to put everything on the screen so that you can see. Yeah, so here we go. Here are the measurements. So we're going to start with the top length, which is 35 inches. So you're going to mark 35 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance at the down. That is 35 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance on the down. This is what I'm doing here. So you erect those two lines. This is for the top length. So now I'm shifting the camera so that you can see the angles very. So now this is and I'm slanting my shoulder by 4 inches. I'm slanting my shoulder by 4 inches. So you're going to connect. See the way it slants. So see the way it slants from the 4 inches upwards to the front of the neck. Now we're going to take the chest measurement, which is 44. You will divide 44 into 4. That will give you 11 inches. You mark 11 inches, add 1 inch as sewing allowance, as you can see me doing here. Because we have excess fabric on the side, I'm going to readjust it so that we can save our fabric. So now you can see this. Now that is me connecting my line from the shoulder slants to the front of the neck, and then we're going to go on and mark, just reconfirm, because I readjusted the fabric, so I'm reconfirming. So that is 44 divided by 4 is 11 inches plus half an inch. Please, half an inch sewing allowance is enough, it's okay. So now for the side vents, I like to mark 8 inches. That will be a total of 10 inches. That's when you add the extra 2 inches folding allowance, it will be 10 inches. So you mark 8 inches for the side vents, and then you're going to connect it to the upper lines where I marked initially. So you will notice that the downward part of the top is wider, it opens wider than the chest because of the hips, such that your top will not be tight for your client around the hip area. So I'll just reconfirm my measurements and then I'll pick up my scissors and cut it down. So now we'll have the front piece, and we're going to refold the remainder of the fabric so that we can get the back piece. I hope you can see that I refolded the fabric into 2, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just to pick up the front piece and place it on the back piece. Yeah, so this is me placing the front piece that we already cut on the back piece. You can see that the head is facing upwards, this time towards the camera. You see how I flipped it. So I'll just readjust the camera so that I can capture what is really important at this point. Alright, so here we go. So the down parts are lines together. The down parts, the one that is away from the camera, are lines together, but this top part, we're going to add 4 inches to the shoulder side. 4 inches to the shoulder side, which is what I'll do now. So after marking those points, you're going to connect it with your straight roller as seen here, and then the next thing is to cut. So you just cut the line just do as I do, cut the line up to that extent and then slant it down, and then you're going to follow the outline of the top and cut it all the way down. I mean, you follow the outline of the front piece follow the outline of the front piece and cut it all the way down. So you just arrange the top and the back as seen here. Now it's time to cut the neck. That place I marked is 3 inches downwards, and then inside I'm marking 2 inches. Please take note, 3 downwards, 2 inside, and then you get out your neck curve. So also please note that I only cut the front piece of the top. Now you arrange the back piece as seen here, and then you continue your cutting upwards. You do this as seen here. So after this, now we're going to cut the shoulder, which is 18.5 inches. So you are going to divide 18.5 inches by 2, which will give you 9 1/4 inch. So you mark 9 1/4 inches, and then you add half an inch to it. So for the arm, that shoulder divided into 2 is what we're going to use for our armhole depth. So just mark that there, and then you join the lines. The horizontal and the perpendicular lines should join together. Now this is very important. Make sure you divide that line into 2 and mark the half of it, the half of the line. That's the middle of that line. Then from the middle of the line, you're going to take out half an inch. Mark half an inch. That is for the armhole depth for the front of the bodies, because the front and the back of the bodies are not going to have the same armhole depth. So now you're going to get your armhole curve, and then you sketch out the curve of this. After sketching it out, you just get your scissors and you trim only the front piece. Take note, trim only the front piece, please. So we're picking up the front piece. It's only the front piece you are expected to cut at this point. Leave the back piece alone. So after doing that, you are going to cut the back piece half an inch away from the front piece. I hope you can see the results. That is the purpose of what we did. We wanted to deepen the front by half an inch, and that is the result we're looking for. So now we are going to prepare the pieces and the little elements that we need for the top. So I'm starting with the plackets. I'm cutting the fabric that I'm going to gum my plackets upon, and this is it. You can just make the length to be about 15 to 16 inches, and the width can be 5 inches. 5 inches will be fine. So after trimming that, I'm going to trim the second part of the placket, the smaller part of the placket, the one that normally lies underneath the plackets. So it's what I'm trimming here now. That one should be at about 8 to 10 inches, and the width should be about 2.5 to 3 inches. So now here is how to prepare your plackets. I'm using the hard collar gun. So you just cut it to 1 1/4 inch. The width is 1 1/4 inch, and the length is 17 inches. So you just prepare your collar gun that you're going to use for your plackets. Prepare it as seen here. Trim off all the rough edges to make it smooth. Yeah, so you just place your placket on the fabric as seen here. Then you're going to press it down, iron it. So you can see that after gumming it, there is an excess fabric here. So we'll trim it out, leaving about quarter of an inch. Trim it out, leaving quarter of an inch, so that we can use that quarter of an inch to stitch it to the bodies. So I'm now done with the big plackets. Now we're going to just iron the smaller parts of it and then go on to stitch it to the fabric. So please, you watch closely. Look at this thing I folded. Is just about half an inch. You fold half an inch and then you fold again half an inch, and then you cover the up of it, and then you're done with this one. Watch closely. So now I'm done with the plackets, both the big and the smaller ones. So the next thing is to do the piping. And this is how to achieve the plackets. You are going to fold your fabric in a bias form. Just do this thing the same way you see me doing it. Fold the fabric in a bias form, and then mark 1 inch all along that place. If you know you cannot get a straight line, mark 1 inch, 1 inch all across, so that it will guide you, because the size of your placket is supposed to be 1 inch. So after marking that, you just cut it out. So you make sure that the full width of the fabric is 2 inches. If anything more than that, you might have a very big piping. So just trimming it down to size. So you're going to fold ½ inch on one side and ½ inch on the other side, and the two pieces will meet at the center, and then you iron it. After that, you apply your hemming on the side. So now that we're done with the piping, we'll go ahead and cut the sleeve. Now to determine the armhole, use this formula: shoulder divided by 2 plus 2 inches. Shoulder divided by 2 plus 2 inches. So here the shoulder is 18.5. If you divide that by 2, we're going to have about 9 1/4. So add 2 inches to that, that's 11 1/4. So measure 11 1/4. The folding will be 11 1/4. So at that point now we're marking that as 4 inches for the armhole slant, 4 inches. And the length of the sleeve is 16 inches. So you're going to mark 16 inches and add 2 inches for folding allowance. And then you cut it. So another thing we also need to do is to remove half an inch from the sleeve. Remove half an inch from the armhole of the sleeve to avoid wrinkles around the armhole. If you don't remove this half an inch from the front side of the sleeve, your top is going to have folding. It will not balance very well around the armhole. So you can see that the front part